Hello and welcome to the Socks Make People Sexy Let's Play Summer Olympics 2015. Excuse the fact that I slipped on my butt yesterday. Oh no, Dr. Robotnik, stop, please come back, no, please, the Chaos Emerald, no, stop. Anyway, what we're doing this week is week 3, and we are going on a field trip, and because we're going on a field trip, we can't play any console video games. So we all gotta pull out our Game Boys and our Game Gears, and we gotta play a game that is also on a console. Now, what I mean by that is that a game that was originally for a console, ported to a handheld system. In this case, we're going to be playing Sonic Chaos, also known as Sonic and Tails for the Sega Game Gear. Sonic and Tails in other countries. This game in particular didn't come out in America on the Master System, but it did come out in Europe and Japan, so it counts. Anyway, this is the second game created by Aspect, a Sonic game created by Aspect for the handheld and Master System. The first one being Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The first game, though, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, was created by Ancient, which is Yuzo Koshiro's studio. Not really explaining much about the game here, of course, but that's alright. I find this game's actually more interesting historically than gameplay-wise, but this game's still pretty cool. It's basically a pretty stripped down, easy to play Sonic the Hedgehog game for the handheld. You don't really need to know much. You know that you can run, jump, spin dash, in this one particularly. Yes, spin dash has been added. It's not in Sonic the Hedgehog 1 or 2 for the Game Gear. There's different gameplay. You can play as either Sonic or Tails. Gameplay's a little bit different between both, but it's more or less... Sonic has one ability, Tails has another. Tails can fly. Sonic has what's called the peel out and the spin dash. Both of them have the spin dash. The peel out is basically a good speedy move that you can use to build up a good burst of speed really quickly, faster than the spin dash. Not a lot going on with these levels. You notice that these levels are really short, really concise. Mostly because it's a handheld game. You're not going to be getting a lot of these really long, elaborate Sonic the Hedgehog 3 levels. Although those are really good. I actually grew up with this game. I grew up with the Game Gear, actually. I really enjoy the Game Gear, and please excuse that death. I sort of blame the Game Gear for it, but I'm not gonna lie, it's been a long time since I've played this game. The best I can say for Sonic Chaos here is that it does what it does, and it doesn't protrude from anything for it. Only thing really is getting the Chaos Emeralds, and that's a little tricky. We're gonna come on the first boss, though, of this level. All you really need to do is spin dash into it. It's a giant motor bug, whatever you're gonna do. That spring at the top, though, you can't jump on it. It's gonna launch you into the air. That's basically it. This game's not that difficult. Although there are... If you go into it too fast, you probably will fall into a bottomless pit due to the Game Gear's small screen. Again, there's also a Master System version of this game, if you're interested. Although that was only released in Europe and Japan. The Ancient developed Sonic the Hedgehog game was actually the last official Master System game in America. You see from this level, now we're in Gigopolis Zone. I actually really like this level. It's kind of funky and really awesome. I like the music in this area. I forgot about this level. You have these platforms here at the top there. There's bridges that sort of have Sonic going at a rate, a fast rate. If you stop, you actually fall through the platform. There's some other levels with that same gimmick, and not too much you really have to expect. Hidden springs everywhere, kind of propelling you forward into the level. I said earlier that the hardest part of this game was getting the Chaos Emeralds. It's really hard because you have to collect 100 rings in each level and get to the end. And as you notice, these levels are really short. There are ring boxes everywhere that you can get all the items you need to, but it's kind of hard to get them all, in my opinion. Other than that, this game is it's not obtrusive at all. It's the third game in this handheld Master System series of Sonic games. It's also the last one released for the Master System. This game's sequel, Sonic Triple Trouble, or Sonic and Tails 2, was only released for the Game Gear. And it has a couple different gameplay things that I've actually never played the game. Quite honestly. Nonetheless, I find it very unobtrusive. I find it a lot easier than Sonic the Hedgehog 2, though. That game in particular is a hard game. And not in a very good way, from what I feel. Probably one of the lesser Sonic games one of the lesser Sonic games on the Genesis Game Gear. Really, this game is harmless. Just has a fun little platformer you take with you on the go. And then it rates your kilometers per hour, and it's kind of cute. Really, the 8-bit Sonic sprites look pretty darn good, in my opinion. And as you notice there, I have a continue already for having a so number amount of points. Basically, you get continues every, I think, was it 500,000? I'll check again. Look there. One little interesting thing in this game is that whenever you're near a spin dash and going up a ramp, you start getting, like, propelled in motion really fast. It's kind of weird. We're coming up to the second boss here, and this is actually a really tough boss for some reason. What you need to do is hit it and not lose your rings. If you get hit again, you're going to die. You also notice in this Sonic game, unlike other games, you don't lose a whole bunch of rings when you lose rings. If you only have 5 rings, you'll only one ring will pop out, and you'll lose all of them, but you can only get one back. That number increases, like if you have 20 rings, 2 rings will pop out. That's different from the other Sonic games before this, the other 2 8-bit games. In particular, in those, however, you can't recollect the ring, which is even more dangerous. There's something to be aware of. Most of the bosses are pretty short like that. And if you notice that all the bosses have been these stage-specific bosses that aren't Dr. Robotnik, I like this as well. And they seem really kind of coherent with the rest of the game. The ancient-developed Sonic the Hedgehog game had Dr. Robotnik bosses, but the Aspect-developed Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has the more level-based bosses. Like, the first level boss is an antlion robot in that one. We're coming up on this zone here, and it's a kind of a cool little designed world that I kind of like. This almost Marble Garden-esque sort of feel to it. Just kind of with the whole, temple style and the destructible objects, then kind of the egg, the Robotnik statues in the middle there. And I almost tripped up and said Eggman. I am a Robotnik person. But it's more or less a pretty cool, well-designed, cool stage. Again, like this game, it's unobtrusive. It's not something I'm going to tell you, hey, go play this now. But it's it's going to work out just fine watching it. Now, I'm coming up on something new here. These small little spring vehicles. If you notice here, if I hit a wall with those that can't be destroyed, Sonic falls off of those and can't get back up. And for some reason, I don't know what I'm doing here. Come on. Come on. The one thing you can do on the spring, though, is jump off of it. And get onto the next platform. Come on. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Now we come on to this really cool little sequence here of destroying these blocks and kind of propelling ourselves forward. We'll be careful of these spring enemies. When they approach us, they're actually jumping, so usually if you're in time with kind of how the level's going, keeping with pace, you're going to avoid them. You're going to run right over them. And if you jump, you're going to be in a ball, which will allow you to hit the enemy anyway. And we're actually in Act 2 of the 3rd level of the game, and actually there are only 6 levels in this game. The final level being this electric egg area that I probably won't be getting to. But nonetheless, we're coming up to the boss of this level, and I think this boss is kind of tough. You want to have rings for this one. So you come up to this egg-shaped robot enemy that's going to be firing those 3 shots there. You want to kind of avoid those shots, but they're kind of hard to avoid when he's jumping right there and you're about to hit right what happened there. I kind of fell into that shot right there again. But you just kind of keep jumping into him at the side, and you'll be able to beat him. And that's Sleeping Egg Zone. And we're coming up to, actually, a really cool level. That's coming up here real fast. Oh yeah, increase that score. Score looks good. And now we're in Mecha Green Hill Zone. This really cool kind of mechanical green hill sort of feeling to it. It's kind of cool. Oh man, missed that. I completely forgot to mention the rocket sneakers. They're a power-up that appears early in the game, from earlier in the video. And they're basically this rocket-propelled... propels Sonic forward to the entire level. And it's really cool. Really cool. But if you get hit while you have this power-up, you lose it. So, and then if it goes on for too long, it runs out. So, kind of go really fast with the rocket sneakers, but don't hit anything. And you can skip most of the levels that you have with them, due to these levels being really short. One other note on this game is that Sonic and Tails are running faster than Sonic ran back in the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 game in this one. They kind of learned the system hardware a little bit more and learned how to get past some of the limitations. So this game is actually a little faster paced than those other Sonic games. And I find that pretty admirable, learning the system hardware and, you know, developers getting better from it. And there's a thing there saying that the Game Gear screen can kill you. And we come to our first death. But we have those 3 continues, so we can use those all we want. Anyway, so whenever you use a continue, you start back at the act that you died at, which is really convenient if you want to get through the game as fast as possible, you know, however you want. I also failed to mention, though, that with the Chaos Emerald, you do the special stage and do that. But that's only in Sonic's game. Tails doesn't have Chaos Emeralds. Also, there are only 5 Chaos Emeralds in the special stages. As you saw from the intro, Robotnik has the 6th Chaos Emerald. There are no 7 Chaos Emeralds in the Master System Game Gear Sonic games. Oh well. But we have done Act 2 of Mecha Green Hill Zone, and we're coming up to the 3rd act, which means boss time. Also, when you use a continue, your score resets. Oh well. Because that's what we play games for these days, right? Score. I'm gonna have you all just completely ignore that death. Pay no mind to it. I've been sick this week. Yes, that's exactly it. But fortunately, just learn from your deaths and don't jump right into or run right into the pit. I'm gonna wholeheartedly admit that was probably my fault, not the Game Gear screen. Running across those little things. Do not stop on these platforms, by the way. You will fall and you will die. Like that. So my tips for Sonic Chaos. Look before you leap. The Game Gear screen will kill you. Probably just play the Master System version. Overall. If you have that available to you. Or if you actually own the Game Gear cartridge in America, like I do, and grew up with it. Have a lot of fun. This isn't actually a bad game. None of the Master System Sonic games are bad. I just think, like for example, Sonic 2 is kind of bullcrap. and is really, Oh well. This boss in particular, though, this armadillo-looking thing, whenever his head pops out, hit him in the head. And that's all you need to do. That's Mecha Green Hill Zone. Next one is the Aquatic Planet, but we're going to be ending off here pretty soon. Probably not seeing much of that. Yep, looks like our 15 minutes are good here. Anyway, that was week 3. It was fun seeing you all again. For this, even though my voice is a little done right now. Have fun, everyone.